This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
Hey, welcome to 24/7 Buff Pandemonium Scott and Swank pre-draft show. Swank, we don't have much longer until April 28th comes around, and we're picking our first pick in the 25th with the 25th pick, or will we? Hey, everyone.
That was
I
such a good tease.
I know,
Oh my
right?
God.
Everyone, you guys know me. It's Scott on the show. That's what it is in real life. You can find me Twitter at Scott247BF, and my partner here, Swank. Swank, tell us a little bit about you.
I think I'm a Libra, but then I think that they changed all the star signs like a couple years ago, and I had no idea. So I always thought I was a Libra, but walks on the beach. I like a nice glass of whiskey and a good firm beer. I produce this show. I produce the K-Gun Report every Tuesday for 24/7 Buff Pandemonium. You can come hang out and do that at 8 p.m. That's a good time. This is a great time. Scott and I have been doing Sunday shows for a couple months now, man. We took that little 6-week break after the Super Bowl. Was that what it was? Or did we stop? Yeah, after the Super Bowl. We usually take a little 6-week break. But we just could not stand not doing at least 2 shows. And our lives are so unchaotic and easy that we just want to keep pushing more stuff down your throat. But yeah, no, we love doing this. And you can follow me at Swank247BF, and this is broadcasting on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook Live. So,
welcome Swank, welcome Pandemonium that are watching the Bills Mafia. Before we get started, sad news yesterday. I know you all heard of Haskins. Dwayne Haskins passed away. Unfortunate events that happened in Florida.
Crazy.
Condolences to the family and friends, teammates, and all that were a part of his life. It's sad for the NFL. But there's a good guy, good family, good friend. So sad news. We hate to see anybody die, but very young, and it's tragic. So, condolences, like I said, on behalf of myself and 24/7 Buff Pandemonium.
Yeah, man. There was a lot of stuff yesterday that came out. It was kind of interesting to see, I guess. I liked it. I liked that the players were coming out and they were, just saying some nice words about Haskins and stuff, but also they weren't afraid to call out some media members that were kind of, I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows what to do during that kind of stuff, right? So I guess if you're doing your job and you're just reporting and you're whatever, but it seems like in the social media, instant news, kind of era, everybody's looking for that little shock, that little dig. And I think Schefter put that out about him struggling. Maybe it wasn't meant to be that way, but it definitely was an eye catcher. And I think he caught the eyes of some guys he probably didn't want to catch the eyes of. I mean, you got a good majority of professional football players that are pretty pissed off because, whatever Dwayne Haskins did in the NFL, he was an amazing collegiate quarterback, and for all accounts, everybody said he was a stand-up guy. He was a family man. I don't know how many people from the Steelers posted pictures of him holding their kids and stuff like that, and it's dude has literally just passed. How about we just say a little thing and move on and let it be what it's going to be, So I thought that was great. I thought that players saying we're not just entertainment, we're people, He's a friend. He was a good guy. So that was interesting.
And you're right, Swank. The media gets caught up sometimes as trying to be the first one to tell the story. And when it's something like this, you keep it simple. You keep the emotion out of it. You know what I mean? It is a very emotional time. You don't want to be construed as seeming one way when you're not. Just a simple, sorry to hear the news, condolences, even reaching out. You need anything, let us know, kind of thing. But to add his football career in there, he's 99% more than just that. You know what I mean? So that should all be left out. Maybe you could throw out there Pittsburgh Steeler quarterback, then say what you have to say. But the rest should all be left out.
There's such a small fraction. We talk about it on the show all the time. 1% of high school football players make it to the collegiate level to play, and then less than 1% of college players make it into the NFL. So if you're looking at the grand scheme of that, you're talking about every single person that's ever played high school football, the chances of you being good enough or considered good enough to even get a shot in the NFL is so minuscule. And this guy, whether you like how he played or how he acted or whatever, like, he made it. He was there. You know, there's a lot of guys that didn't. And I just think, like you're saying, man, no one, when, you know, not saying anything is, and a lot of times, saying a lot, right? Like, I mean, I don't know how you guys are, but like when I'm at funerals and stuff, it makes me really uncomfortable. I mean, I don't think anybody's comfortable at a funeral, but like, you know, you're sitting there with somebody that you know or affiliated with or whatever, introduced with, and you're trying to like get in your head about what the hell do I say when I go up and hug them or shake their hand, you know, and you want it to be like this big poetic thing to express like how much you're hurting for them. But you can just, you know, like, you just say too much, or you don't say the right thing. And like you said, man, just saying a quick little thing, shake your hand, need anything, bam. Like, I learned how to do that a long time ago because you just sit there like, ugh. But these guys are professionals, man. I'm talking about the media members, not the football. I mean, the football players obviously are too, but like these media members, they've kind of started to get away with way too much just because they have an instant audience whenever they do anything, you know, and they can say whatever they want. You know, we got a lot of people in Buffalo that do that and talk out of two sides of their face, you know. So it was just nice to see that they got a little heat from the people that they're interviewing, you know,
as they should have. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So welcome to the pre-draft show. If you guys have watched the last couple weeks, we were initially, Swank, gonna dab into every position, but with the Bills free agency signings and what they've done so far in the free agency, we've kind of decided there's one position and one position alone, really, that we believe that the Bills are going to address in the first round. And we both think it's cornerback, along with many Mafia members. Some would like a wide receiver, and some would like potentially best player available, which could be one of the linebackers. But this week we're doing something a little special. There's been rumors that Bean is going to be aggressive this draft and potentially move up. And rightfully so. You're looking at the top two corners in the draft. It's Derek Stingley and Sauce, Ahmed Gardner. And if he wants any one of those guys, he's going to have to move up. So, like as I mentioned before, we went after Andrew Booth in the first show we did 3 weeks ago. 6 foot plus guy, 200-pound cornerback we felt would fit the CB number 2 mold pretty well when Trey White came back. The next week we hit up interior offensive line with Kenyon Green. And that was before we signed Ike Boker and Ryan Bates and Manzies and all that stuff. So that position could be held off to the 4th, 5th, 6th round. And then last week we touched on the wide receiver spot. Treylon Burks, someone that we felt could come in if the Bills did address this spot with the 25th pick and play that slot receiver, a big slot receiver guy, 6'2", 225 pounds, that would be significantly bigger than Crowder and Isaiah McKenzie. But yet he would take their spot, which, you know, they just brought those two guys in, so I can't see why they would do that. But keeping in mind, guys, this show is are players that we feel could drop or fall within the 15th and 35th pick. And in our opinion alone, we feel that who it would be with those picks. So that's why we went with those 3. And this is why we're actually going. Swank said something about trading up in a personal conversation we had. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make that happen with my mock draft.
You make all my dreams come true.
And I tell you what, PFF has a nice mock draft simulator. They played it safe this year with the whole trading scenario because they give everybody a C for a trade, which, you know, because you never know. But I went off past trades that the Bills have done and other teams have done. And you put out a fun little post on Twitter this past week, turning a bad scenario into a good one, reversing it, reverse psychology kind of thing working. And quick, tell us which one you did. You remember?
Yeah, I did. So the whole point was like to take something that you thought was not a good decision on the Bills' behalf and try to present it as if in the time you were like for it. So mine was, oh, thank God that Rob Johnson's finally coming into this game.
That was hilarious.
Which I'm sure that there's enough people out there like at the time that were thinking that, but I think in hindsight, a lot of us were like, "No, please God, no."
Don't make it. And the
Yours
reason,
was good too.
yeah, mine was in 2004, the Buffalo Bills traded the Dallas Cowboys for the 22nd pick, and obviously a few more picks in that round in that year, and then the next year's first round. So my statement was, "Oh my God, the Bills just traded for the 22nd pick. We're gonna get J.P. Lossman. The future's now." So that that was we all know how that ended up. But I'm using those kind of trades to project what kind of trade the Bills would have to make. Hold on, did I lose someone? My screen just disappeared. There it is.
No,
Okay.
good,
And so what I'm doing, guys, is I traded our 25th pick, our third round pick this year, and next year's first round pick with the New York Football Giants to get their 7th pick overall. And I also bumped up to our third pick with that pick because it seemed like a little heavy on their side. But I also put into a fact that we have Dable over there and Schoen over there, and the draft class for the Giants as far as quarterbacks go isn't all that great, and they have 2 picks in the first 10 picks. So I figured stock up on their first picks for next year so they can go after this quarterback heavy draft next year. It would benefit them so they can move up however they need, and the Bills could obviously move up this year and get their cornerback. You like that trade, Swank?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of that makes a lot of sense. If Dable was smart and the GM that went over from Beans Tree, right? You would assume that they would try to mimic exactly how the Bills rebuilt. And I think that this would be a smart way to do that, right? You kind of ride out that first season, build up some like glaring holes that aren't quarterback, and then stockpile for the next year to get your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I mean, I think that makes a ton of sense. Also, in all this, I know a lot of people. I see our boy Rob Mullins back today. Thanks for hanging out and being a good contributor, man. We got Patrick Hughes, we got John Johns, we got your boy over at Let's Talk 716 on YouTube.
Oh, what's up, Robbie?
We got Jared. We got Jared with Everett and Sullivan. Thanks, boys. How's it going? We got Buffalo Spartan.
This is Sparta.
I think one of these things that we've been talking about, and I bring this up because Rob Mullen, he brought it up a couple weeks ago about like we don't need to trade up for a cornerback, and I agree. There's a lot of talent. It's deep, and we've kind of went back and forth on all that. Here's something else that we don't need to do, and I think this makes a lot of sense, especially this year, especially with the cap, especially with all the other moves that we made. We don't need all of our draft picks. Like, we don't need to pay all these guys. There's literally going to be depending on the player, I know it's all open competition, but if you package up some of these lower draft picks and move up and get a higher quality player on paper with a better chance of making your roster, I mean, I think that's good as gold, man, because you need like some high impact players, especially in the corner position, to toe the line for a little while and to start CB2, So I think I would not be mad if he traded away some draft picks. I wouldn't be mad if he traded them into next year. We got some other contracts coming up next year, all that stuff. This year, just with the money, with everything we've done, if they came out with like 3 players, I would be completely fine with it. I don't know how you pay these guys. And I don't know if you want to put them through a camp so another team can scoop them up.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think we have 60 plus on the roster right now, and I could see all those guys making it. You know what I mean? And what this trade with the Giants does, you guys out there listening, is that first round pick is going to be $2+ million. And with the cap going up $30-40 million, that first round pick could potentially be $3 to $4 million. Yeah. So by giving that pick away next year, you're automatically saving that $3 to $4 million on your cap.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And what do we say we're at right now? 8.3, 8.2?
We're the deal with Diggs moved him up to like 7.2, and then with Bodker restructuring his contract, was it Bodker or Bates?
Bates.
Bates restructuring his contract, it's now up to like 8.3 or something like that. And everything I've read suggests that we're going to need like 8.6 to draft our players.
Okay.
So we're right there. Swank, you said,
if
go
you
ahead.
draft all 7, right?
Right. And I'm going there with a
Yeah.
2021 draft, right? Our first round was Gregory Russo, obviously, Carlos Basham in the second, Spencer Brown in the third, Tommy Doyle in the fifth, Marquez Stevens in the sixth, Hamlin in the sixth, Rashad Wildgoose, who's not on the team, and Jack Anderson, who's not on the team. So right there, out of all those picks, there's 2 that didn't even make the team.
Yeah.
So to your point with they don't need all these picks, get rid of both your 6s and move up maybe in the 5th or 4th, or package deal your next year's first round draft pick to some of these teams that don't have any picks. I could tell you right now, the Saints are going to have to draft their rosters because of their cap issues. There's going to be a handful of teams that are going to have to build through their draft and not free agency because they just cannot afford anybody. So I like that point. Out of the 8 we have now, we may only need 5.
Yeah. And I don't think that that's a problem. Everybody that's watching, everybody that's watching the future, there should be no panic, like anywhere on this team. And there shouldn't, like, really, I think there's like the Bills curse kind of like hangover, right? Because when Josh came and then that second year where you're like, holy shit, like we got something here, and then you're kind of still going into it like tentatively. This is a good team. It's a solid team. They've built it for longevity in a lot of positions. So if they did do something like that, there's no need to like flip out. I mean, they're going to have 89 or 90 players going into the offseason regardless. But maybe in that respect, if you have a stacked roster with pretty much the core there and just a couple guys that you've paid very minimalistically to come in for training camp, like that seems fine to me. We're not looking for a Duke Williams to come out of the cracks anymore. We're not looking for, somebody to save us in some crazy weird way where you got, washed through all the cracks. Like, this team is solid. We just need a couple pieces here or there, and they pretty much covered everything in free agency. So
take a look at what Rob Mullen's saying. We're going to get to our draft pick pretty quick here, guys, but with the extension of Diggs and the extension of all these some of these players the Bills have done, we can't pay everybody. It's just not happening. And the reason the Diggs things work out is because it's an extension. So it's not guaranteed money this year. It's moving the money around. Diggs is getting paid, but he's not getting paid for another couple of years. They're just making sure that he's on the contract. So when they say that we don't have any money to use, we don't have any money now. We have money in the future.
Yeah.
So this whole talk with Poyer, and I love Poyer. The guy's been nothing but positive influence, a positive. His story is amazing, and his wife is online. She's rightfully so to be expressive about. She thinks her husband deserves to get paid, and yes, Poyer and Hyde do deserve to get paid, but we can't pay everyone. And Rob Mullen's on here saying, I like this take. Trade your 25th and something else to move up and get that Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. This guy is projected to go top 5, and they'd have to trade a first-round draft pick next year, I believe, too. So I like that take. The problem is here, Rob, is they drafted a guy last year by Damar Hamlin, number 31. I think there's a reason why they brought him in. And he's played special teams. He's played his role. And like I said, I'd love to have Poyer and Hyde for the next 10 years. But they're on the wrong side of 30, and something's going to give. And this potentially might be one of those things. So Damar Hamlin, keep an eye on him. We'll be able to see if he's getting – Leslie Frazier's giving him a lot more reps this year to see what potentially might happen the next.
Yeah, on the Poyer thing, I mean, you can say what you will about Rachel Bush, but she's very vocal about what she thinks about, how Poyer and Hyde are getting paid and treated and all that stuff. And I think they're getting treated really well. I also wonder if Diggs wouldn't have got his contract, would this even be a thing? Because in all reality, we literally had a show the night before it happened when we were talking to Nick Fierro, right, from SportsIllustrated.com. And he was saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised, Doug Whaley, with all this smoke, he possibly could get traded. Who knows? Like, blah, 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 right? And we were going through all the scenarios, and I'm like, I actually don't even think they're going to address it. Because why would you? You got him for, like, another 2 years. Why even get into it right now? And then the next morning, of course, they sign him to like one of the richest wide receiver contracts that you could possibly get. And we're all wrong. And that's what's fun about doing live streaming and podcasting is that we get to speculate during the boring parts of the season about what could possibly happen. And no way this will happen. And then it happens. And you're like, oh, okay. You know, the thing with the Poyer deal is I love Poyer. We all love Poyer. I saw this great, God, it wasn't like a poll. It was just like, for the next couple years, you can only keep 2 out of these 4 players. Which 2 are you keeping? And it was Knox, Poyer, Oliver, and I can't remember the last one. God, but anyway, it was like an aging player, and nobody picked outside of Knox and Oliver.
Right. I was gonna say those are my 2 choices. Yep.
Yeah, and it's sad to think about, man, because we get so attached to players in Buffalo, and Poyer is like a huge part of this fabric, and I do not want him to go anywhere. I would be more comfortable if they just gave him like a burst contract, like extend him 2 years and give him some decent money. You know, like that's safe. That might get her and him, like get him happy, get her off everybody's back, like, you know. But also they just both got extensions, right? Like not too long ago. Micah and him. So it's, I don't know. It seems
well,
like
Rachel's argument was these 2 guys should not be the guys that are subjected to the team deal contracts anymore, the friendly deals. She's upset with the term friendly deals and all that stuff. She doesn't want them to be those guys anymore.
Yeah. Well, Rob Mullen just said, well, Poyer got $11 million per last offseason, and that's top 5 per his position. So, you know, it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is, you know. Not everybody can get paid. Not everybody can stay forever. I think, you know, God, man, in the drought era, there's like, aside from Kyle Williams, everybody that's been on this team for the last 3 years is like, you know, I don't want to see any of them go. You know, I didn't want to see Harry go. I wondered how that was going to go, that he was a big part of this community, but then, oh, hey, McCoy. Yeah, my dog's in the background. But it's the facts. I mean, we said it last year, right, in the off season. There's going to be people on this team that you like that are not going to be here during the season, you know, and I personally can't even think of any of the people that we were talking about last offseason into this past season. You know, is there somebody that was like, I mean, John Brown, I guess, you know, he was hurt. Everybody was kind of okay with it. I don't know I don't know who was on the roster that we were like, yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember.
I can't come in with it.
And maybe going forward, that's the way it'll be. And that's the business part of it. It kind of sucks, but, you know, let's go get a Super Bowl this year then. You know, like if he possibly isn't playing beyond this season, let's go win a Super Bowl. I think he's got another year left.
And that talks.
Yeah.
Super Bowls talk.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, all these guys want all this money. It helps if you are lifting that trophy up at the end of the year. It does. You know, the Pro Bowl votes are one thing too. That definitely helps the contract talks and all that stuff. But the big thing is that damn trophy. So if you want 53 Buffalo Bills to make $10+ million a year somewhere, you better be lifting that trophy.
Absolutely.
All right. You ready, Swank?
I'm ready, buddy.
With the 7th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Giants trade with the Buffalo Bills. Bills received the 2022 7th pick and round 3, number 67 for this year's 25th pick, round 3's 89th pick, and the 2023 first-round pick. With that selection, our Buffalo Bills select Ahmed Gardner, Cincinnati, cornerback. Love that pick. So, Swank, I showed you I got a new mouse for my computer, everyone. I've been able to finagle things a lot quicker, a lot easier, and all that stuff.
Like, yeah, look at it.
Yeah, so I sit back and I put the computer screen up on the console, up on got a big, nice little ottoman thing while the kids are doing their thing. And I'm just clicking back and forth. I was able to watch so much film on this guy because there's a lot of film on him. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
6'2", 195 pounds, a 3-year starter, freshman, sophomore, junior. He's coming out as a junior. The guy is He doesn't remind me of Trey White, but he reminds me of what he can do when he comes into the NFL and be an immediate starter as a CB number one somewhere.
I
A
love it.
CB number one somewhere. Right now he is going top 10. So I have the Jets, the Falcons are a couple teams that are going to land him, and those guys are picking 8 and 10. That's why I moved up to 7 to the Giants to make sure I can get ahead of those guys and grab this guy. Long, lengthy. He plays man and zone wonderful. He 4.4 speed allows him. He does get beat every once in a while going deep, but his 4.4 speed, his ability to turn around, locate the ball, he's got great ball hawk skills, is impressive. Very impressive. So there's the man coverage. His zone coverage, he cheats everyone. He basically, you put Madden skills on rookie and you play with this guy. He's just cheating everyone. He's able to, understanding that the Bills play the same defense that Cincinnati played a lot of the times, to have those two safeties dropping back in that cover two with Poyer and Hyde. Ahmed Gardner has the knack to turn his body to the sideline, look at the quarterback and keep his eye on the wide receiver at the same time, and he is able to break on that ball like you wouldn't believe. He fools quarterbacks into making those outside routes, those quick hitches, those quick digs, and he's so long and fast that if he's not getting a pick six, he's deflecting that ball. It's crazy. And I watched a lot of film on him the last couple of weeks, and one thing he does great also is if he's got a big wide receiver that goes up and grabs the ball, he's one of those guys that can locate the ball in the hands and knock it out of the hands after they've caught it.
I love it.
Guys, this is someone that we should definitely go after.
And I just pulled up the draft order. Giants have the 5th pick too. So,
yep.
If they can they'll still be in the first round this year. What was your trade for?
The 7th. Oh, yeah, next year they'll get another first round next year.
Okay.
And they're rebuilding, keep in mind. So they'll probably be picking top 15, top 10 next year. And then you throw that first round pick next year. If the Bills even have 32 in the first round, they can use those 2 picks and bump up in the top 10 to get their quarterback they need in 2023.
Sure. Yeah, I love it, man. And really, where I'm looking, you're not prying that away from, you don't want the number 1 overall pick anyway. It's just high enough to where it won't completely kill you, but also, there's just not, barring any injury, there's no crazy, need for us to be like, whoa, what are we going to do without a first-round pick? Brandon Beane's already shown you what he can do without a first-round pick, right? So if he puts the value in this guy the same way he put value in Stephon Diggs, I trust it 100%. So you're saying the Falcons are also looking for a corner?
Yep.
They're looking for everybody, though, aren't they?
Yeah, you look at a lot of their mock drafts, and it'll say needs, and it'll say all of them.
I would think wide receiver would probably be really high on their list, too, right? Especially with Ridley being out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you got a new quarterback.
Yep. Mariota went there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seahawks. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's perfect. I think you slotted that right, buddy.
See, the Seahawks, Swank. Seahawks could also be someone who could trade with, due to the fact that with that big trade with Wilson, they got Drew Lock over there. And if Drew Lock can't prove anything, the Seahawks may be looking to stock up on some first-round picks to be able to trade to get a quarterback next year as well. So Seahawks may fall right into our wheelhouse.
That'd be sweet. I would think, though, with the pieces that they've lost, because they're almost rebuilding completely, too. Mm-hmm. I guess if they're throwing in the towel and then looking to be competitive next season, yeah, but I could see them either getting, a really strong defensive component to try and, get that back to its old luster, or at least trying to gain some sort of offensive weapon. I don't know, man. Everything's so topsy-turvy. It's all crazy this year, Mm-hmm. They joked about the quarterback carousel that year that Brady left, right? And now this year, I think this year's been even crazier. Completely insane. You have superstars that are just not at all where they were, Mm-hmm. And here we are in Buffalo, sipping coffee.
We're sitting pretty watching the NFL get destroyed as we see it. All the premier quarterbacks are now in the AFC other than Aaron Rodgers. Some people will throw Goff in there. Dak Prescott if he could stay healthy. But they
I
got
wouldn't
rid
put
of.
Goff in there.
No, yeah.
No.
Well, he does have a ring, so it's kind of hard not to for me. But I'm just kidding.
I can list off some other quarterbacks that have rings.
All right, Trent Dilfer. But no, but other than those, just go with Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers. Who else you got there?
Brady.
Kyler Murray. A lot of people throw him in there. Brady's back.
Yeah. Kyler, I don't know about Kyler, man. I know he gets a lot of love, and I know when we had Nick Wagner on the K-Gun, we were talking about that, and he was like, "You guys are a bunch of homers. He'll never, whatever." The Hail Murray game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think that. I think he's got a lot of like, I can win a game. I don't know if he's got a lot of we can win a game in him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's interesting. Anyway, getting off topic. Continue.
Getting off topic. So right now, guys, our cornerback situation, I know we've discussed it before, but since we're talking cornerbacks and getting Sauce Gardner in this first round, Trey White, we have no idea. I have a feeling it'll be 6 weeks until he returns, or half the season. But you never know. It was nice to see him working out. There's some film out there of him doing the box squats, box jumps, putting a lot of pressure on that knee, which looks good. But you know, when you're playing defense, it's all reaction. It's a lot different than knowing what pattern your muscles are prepared to make a fast twitch to do an out pattern, in pattern. Playing defense is all reactionary, and it can put a lot of unwanted stress on your knees. And that's why there's a lot of off non-contact injuries as far as defense goes. So Dane Jackson, I have him. If everything goes where we don't get Trey White back, I have Dane Jackson being our CB number 1, Taron Johnson being CB number 2, Sarah Neal, Cam Lewis, Elijah Griffin, and Tim Harris. That's our depth as we speak. And with not addressing it in free agency, there are still a lot of free agents out there that I believe the Bills potentially could go after, especially if they don't plan on using all their draft picks as far as money goes. That will probably sign the veteran contract deals at $1.12 million.
Yeah.
Is there anyone out? We talked on the K-Gun report. You still on that, Joe Hayden?
I love Joe Hayden. I think I don't know. I don't know now. Is there any shot that the Steelers would want him back, you think?
They probably already had the opportunity to have him signed to the veteran minimum. And I think that would have already been done by now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what Bean's doing too. I think he's waiting these 2 weeks and seeing what we get flushed out with. And like you said, if you get a Sauce Gardner, you get an Andrew Booth, you get somebody like that, then maybe you don't go for Joe Hayden. I think you still want him, especially as like some veteran leadership on that side of the ball. And it's not like Trey won't be around, but like it's a lot harder when he's not on the field, I think.
Right.
So yeah, I'm assuming, and since we're really good at, jinxing a situation only in the opposite, like with the Diggs thing, like I'm thinking he's going to wait until after the draft to pick up one of these veteran guys and, scrape them up for the minimum and do whatever. And maybe if it gets that far, for 2.5 weeks from here and we got a rookie corner and then we're like, hey, Joe, you want to come play for $2 million or whatever, or $1.5 million? We probably get him, hopefully, if nobody else scoops him up. But, yeah, man, I think out of that list, I'd rather have him than anybody else on that list.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right, Swank. What they could do is they could go through the draft and, like, the first round pick. If they can figure out, usually that's for a 4-year deal. They can move money around that way. They could sign in, like, say, Gardner, for instance. He's more towards the top 10 being picked if the Bills get him at 7. So he'll be ranging around $3 million, $3.5 million a year. You could say we'll sign you for 5 years, $20 million with guaranteed money at the end of it. Mm-hmm. That way you could still open up some cap space as far as the 8.6 that the Bills would need for the draft. And you can always use that for a cornerback this year. You could always move the money around.
Sure.
Always move the money around. Rob Mullen did not give up a single TD in his NCAA career. You're correct. To his 2021 stats, 13 games, 40 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, 4 pass breakups. And pretty impressive stats. I've seen him come off the corner and put his helmet on a quarterback. That's pretty awesome. And yes, we go in here talking about all the good things. He does have some flaws. One of his big flaws, Swank, is he's very handsy. He's very punchy off the line of scrimmage, but what happens in the man coverage when someone's going deep, if they start slipping away, he does put his hands on them, tends to have a little contact before the ball's there. He does get beat a little bit, but like I said, his 4.4 speed usually makes up for that. But he'll get quite a few pass interference calls, especially with these quarterbacks knowing that he's a rookie. You know they're going to target him when Trey White comes
Oh
back.
yeah, and especially if they know he's handsy. I mean, we
Yep.
talked about that. I think Booth has a similar problem, right?
Mhm.
I think being a rookie in the NFL, that's just going to get worse for the first season. Beginning of the season it'll be bad, and then towards the end it'll start to clean up. But yeah, I mean, the way officiating is now, like next to D ends and D linemen, corners are the second most regularly falsely accused out of everybody on that field. So if you have a tendency to get handsy because you have too much pride to be known as the guy that blew the coverage, like you're gonna get a flag, and maybe in some instances it's better than not, but I think that can go a long way for ruining somebody's career too, man. You start getting in your head, you start not, you're not playing your game because you're worried about hanging on. Like, I don't know, they just make these defensive players think way too much. I really think that.
Yeah, they do. You take something away from you that worked your whole college career, you take that away, that throws you all off. So if they start penalizing, and you get benched, that takes a little off your ego there.
Sure.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people have him being a little too cocky. I think he needs to be humbled quick. But I believe that you go into this offseason with Diggs and Davis and Knox running their routes. That I think they can humble you pretty quick.
Oh yeah, this is the locker room to do that for sure.
Yep. And another knock on him is he's a great tackler, apparently. I saw it on film, but he does, because he's so lengthy. They knock him for this, but I think it's because he's lengthy. He's able to reach running backs and wide receivers a little more than the shorter armed corners are. So they say he tends to cling, grab, and drag down to the ground instead of lay the hit down. But, I'd rather a corner be able to reach someone and take him down than not reach him at all and have that guy run for a 50-yard touchdown.
Is he blown tackles because of it? Like,
I don't know. Nope, he's not blown tackles. Nope.
So
grab and ride apparently is what he does.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Yep. As long as the guy's not going anywhere, make the tackle.
As long as he's got the ball in his hands.
Yep. I know, right? You better have the ball if you're tackling. You better have, yeah. So that's our draft pick this week. We only have 2 weeks of this. We got 2 more draft picks we're gonna do. That's next week, the next Sunday after that, and then the following Thursday, April 28th, guys, will be our live draft show. We're gonna have a couple drinks. We're gonna drink. I don't know what I'm gonna drink yet. But we're gonna have some food. We're gonna have stopping at Joey's in Newark. There, they have everything you want as far as the high octane stuff. 4 hours of draft show. You can hang out with us. We're gonna have a phone live going on, so you can call in and talk to us about the draft picks. If you're a fan of another team, you can call in during your team's draft and you can try to guess who they're getting. But before we end the show, I actually like to go through the rest of my draft.
Yes, sir.
And when I do that, guys, I keep in mind the position we already drafted, and I keep in mind the needs that the Bills still need. Not necessarily need, but need some depth at. And I like to touch upon the rest of the picks and tell you a little bit about them. I don't go into much depth. So, obviously, you ready, Swank?
Yep.
With that first pick, we traded up. Like I said, we just gave up our 25th pick this year. We gave up a first pick next year, and we also traded back some third rounders. So for the round 2, I actually have us addressing the cornerback position again. We've discussed this, 2 cornerbacks with the first 2 picks. There's a guy that's coming up the ranks from Baylor. His name is Jalen Petrie, 5'11", 200 pounds. A lot of mock drafts have him bumping up every week. He's bumping up 5 or 6 spots, and this guy potentially could finish off the first round or be taken early second. He runs a 4.4 640. He's good size, and I believe he would be signing a 4-year contract at the round 2, so he'd be on the Bills roster for quite some time. Round 3, we bumped up with the trade with the Giants a couple spots. I'm going after our wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert, South Alabama. He's a 4.49 speed guy, 6'1", 194 pounds, so he's good size, good speed. He was one of the best big play threats in college football. I watched a couple of his films, and he's been dubbed that, I think, on PPF. 16 deep receptions, which puts him top in 2021. He's a 3-year starter, and in his 3 years, he's averaged over 17 yards a catch, which is impressive. Round 4, I'm going interior offensive line, Donovan West. He's a center guard from Arizona State, 6'3", 300 pounds. He's also a 3-year starter. He's played all the positions, which we know Bean and company like, center and guard mostly. But he's only allowed 6 career sacks in his college career, 10 quarterback hurries, and 3 hits. So that's not bad. I always address the running back. We're going round 5, 168th pick with Pierre Strong, South Dakota. Smaller school, but his numbers are impressive, guys. He's 5'11", 210 pounds, but he's fast. He runs a 4.3740. And his last in 2021, 239 carries, 1,694 rushing yards, 18 touchdowns, and his college career average is over 7 yards a carry, which is pretty amazing. I don't see us going second round or third round with running back, but I've been wrong before. But I believe you could find this gem late in the draft.
Sure.
Round 6, interior defensive line, Marken McCall. I had him last week, 6'3", 342 pounds. He would be someone that would man the Tech 1 position. I think that's somewhere where Tim Settle's going to be taken care of, and Jordan Phillips. But Settle signed a nice contract. Jordan only signed the 1, I believe. So this would be someone that can come and spell Jordan if he decides to go somewhere else next year. Quick off the snap, and he creates a lot of double team. We talked about this last week. Linebacker at round 6 with Jeremiah Moon from Florida. He's that 6'5", 250-pound linebacker. We had a discussion about Tremaine Edmonds last week and whether or not he will be with the Bills next year. And if I think not, I think that the Bills go after someone like Moon, similar build, potentially could be a little glimpse into the future of whether or not Edmonds is going to be on the team. Good against the run. Doesn't miss tackles. He's got an inside spin move, pretty dangerous spin move because he has played the defensive end at points in his career, and he's been effective there. So they could use him at defensive end and linebacker. And then Swank, who am I ending off with?
Oh, big Matt.
Matt Ariza, the punter, 51.1 yard average. His net is like 48 yards, which is awesome. And if he's there in the late round, 7th round, you might as well get a punter out of it. You're going to pay this guy minimum money. You can get rid of Hawk, who is going to cost you over $1 million a year. So that's the rest of my picks, and I'm sticking to it.
We got Rob Mullen saying, how about a position reversal with the 2nd and 3rd round picks? Number 57, wide receiver Christian Watson, and number 67, his boy Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah. Kobe Bryant's he's coming in the ranks. He's a cornerback. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen good things with him. And then, yeah, I mean, I see Watson going in the 3rd, but if you can nail him in the 2nd, he's a pretty good wide receiver for sure.
Yeah.
Either way, I think they should address the cornerback position in the first 3 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
But I like
twice.
that. I like that, Rob. We could definitely do that. Twice.
Yeah.
Yep. Swank.
Yeah, buddy.
Good show, my friend.
You too, bud.
I love doing these mock drafts. I show you guys what I did every week. And if you guys have any requests, let me know. I could try to figure out something. I like to put the grades on there. I think I got an A- for this one, but it's all with that one. It's all who PFF ranks. I have my own top 50. You'll see that on the show, the 28th on the draft show. But watch some film, do some studying, take some of these top 10s positions and break them down. Watch the film, like I said, and you decide. You could break them down and figure out who you like the best. But these are who we think. We are not managers by any means. It's all opinion. We have broad shoulders. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do,
that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. But you can catch me every Sunday at 11 o'clock on the pre-draft show and the K-Gun Report. You can catch Swank, myself, and Jared. And Swank, send us off. Tell them where we could find us in the social media and do it up.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, the Facebook group. We have a couple Facebook groups. We have a group for the show. We got a group for the K-Gun. We got FLX Mafia if you're from the Finger Lakes, upstate New York region. We're trying to gather all of you because we're doing events. We got a regular season Rager coming up that we're going to hold locally at a brewery here in Shortsville, Manchester area, New York. You can follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, Twitter. You can do the @247buffan, or you could do @swank247bf, or @scott247bf, or @jared247bf. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're catching up all the episodes on the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, and as always, come hang out for the K-Gun. That is the creme de la creme, the crown jewel of the 24/7 Buff Fandemonium Network. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. That's about it.
Thanks. Nice send off, Swank. Until next week, Sunday, find out who we draft. But we'll see you Tuesday, 8 p.m. on the K-Gun Report. As always, guys, one day at a time. Let's take it one day at a time. We got a long off season. Training camp will be up, and the preseason games, and then the regular season games. Really can't look forward. I can't look more forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Until then, cheers and go Bills.
Go Bills.
This is a dangerous group that